Here we are again, folks. This is Brother Peter with tidbits from the Word. After much studying and much meditating and much digging around and much of a lot of things this day, have come to the conclusion that no matter what we do in life, the only thing that's important is the mission that we have. God has given every single one of us a mission. And this mission needs to be fulfilled in our life. Not just that we would be remembered when we die, but that the actions that we did would be passed on, and the things that we've learned in life could be taught to others, whether they be good or whether they be bad. There are times when bad things become good things afterwards because you've learned a lesson through that bad thing. Talking with a man yesterday, telling him, he's telling me all his situation, and sir, I said, sir, I have been where you are, and I sympathize with you, and I will help you as much as possible. But there's only a certain amount of help you can do for a person. They have to work their own self out of their problem. And they can do it with the help of God if they know about God. Now, how are they going to know about God if there's not a missionary? A missionary, what is a missionary? A missionary is a person who is sent, not necessarily to a foreign soil. I am a local missionary. I am an evangelist out of a local church. I am a missionary to the nearest town to where my church is. And the nearest town is the next town up. Now, Jesus said, go first into Jerusalem. That was at home. That was the town I lived in. He said, then Judea. That was just the outside of the town. And then to the outermost parts of the world. They were all missionaries. They were missionaries at home. They were missionaries outside the first town. They were missionaries beyond that. Now, foreign missions is a good thing. The majority of us are not going to go on a foreign mission field. The majority. So therefore, how do we help those who do go on that mission field? We support them financially. We support them with prayers. We support them with love. We support them by calling their name in prayer. God, this particular one or that particular one. In prayer. Now, did you know that the average person, they're not going to just come. They're not just going to come to the church. They're going to have to be brought. They're not going to just come. They're going to have to be brought. They will not seek. The average person will not seek. He has to be sought. Who's going to seek him and sought him out? It's going to be a missionary type person. A person who has love for the soul of a man who is in desperate trouble. That soul that's headed for hell, that has need to hear the gospel. They will not learn. They must be taught. People will not learn about God or about salvation or about anything else unless they're taught. What is the missionary's job? That is to teach about that. Knowledge is not instant. Knowledge is learned. It's acquired without reasoning. You acquire knowledge without trying to reason it out. You just acquire it. If you're a missionary, you are to acquire this knowledge of how to handle things and situations and people. And you learn that by doing. That's how you learn. You get this knowledge by doing. Real knowledge is sincere. And real knowledge is more than reason. It is action above and beyond the reason. Why? The reason this man's in trouble, he can't pay his rent, he can't do anything. He's smoking cigarettes, drinking beer, running wild, and now he's in need, very much need, that he has wasted his substance. And what is he going to do? Well, a missionary can come along and say, sir, let me help you. First thing we've got to do is get your soul secured. And once the soul is secured, then we can work on the physical life and we can help you. Adequate. What is adequate for us to do? The first thing, number one, salvation. This missionary, I'm a missionary. What I'm to do is salvation. What do I do after salvation? I give the guy verification. He's verified that he can do it. It's like going to get a class 3 driver's license. You have to go to school, and you have to do what the instructor says, and you have to follow the manual, and then you have to answer the questions, and then the guy says, now you got to back the truck up, now you got to do this, you got to do that, and you got to get verification. Verification comes from instruction, following instruction. If you follow instruction, you can get verification from God. If you are a missionary, but you have instruction to be a missionary, then you've got instruction how to be a missionary, what to do. If you leave your house in the morning and you get a cup of coffee anywhere and you don't leave a missionary word, you're not a missionary. Matter of fact, you may be a poor specimen of a Christian if you say you are a Christian and you don't leave a good taste in the person's mouth. I have seen Christian people go through the drive-in window, get the wrong thing in the bag, go in and throw it on the counter and throw a fit, instead of politely saying, somebody here has made a slight mistake and this is really not what I ordered. Would you mind changing it for me? And they'll change it. There's another way to do that I have learned being a missionary. I get the absolutely opposite of what I ordered, and I say, thank you, Lord, for it, and eat it anyway. Knowing that person that put this in the bag is working for just menial pence, and on top of that, they're having a hard time this morning, or that morning, and everything is topsy-turvy inside of there, and it's just hard to live. I always try to be more than pleasant to every one of those people working in that place. Yes, a missionary. What is a missionary? A missionary is a person that has the appearance at all times as a missionary, through hard times, through good times. There is a task in Christianity, and this task, if you're going to be a missionary, Acts 1 and 8 said to tarry until you be endued with power from on high. It takes power from on high to overcome the situations of this world. Especially, one of the things we have right now is a problem, serious problem in this United States of America are these handheld telephones. I have encountered, if I had a camera on the dash of my car, you would not believe in 1 week driving to work and back how many times I've had a car coming directly at me on my side of the road and somebody texting. They're texting. Yesterday, going to church. Lady pulls up to a stop sign. I could see her in her mirror. She's texting. No cars coming either way. She sits there for several minutes. Well, I didn't blow my horn, but I would have liked to. And finally, she takes off. And we're behind her, and we're going to church. She's off the road, she's on the road, she's on the other side of the white line. I can see her in the mirror. She's texting. She gets to the next stop sign and does the same exact thing. She's frustrated. And then without a blink or anything, she turns off to the right. I'm telling you, we need to get out here and get to work, my friends. If we're missionaries, we need to try to help folks away from what they're in. The devil's trying to kill everybody. He's trying to captivate them with things opposite than what are important. All right, God's revelation. Christ is the living Word. The revelation of God is that Jesus Christ was with God, and He was the Word in the beginning, and then He came and walked on this earth. This is the revelation, the living Word, Jesus Christ. And then He was the written Word. He became the written Word. We have the written Word of God between the pages in our Bible. We have the written Word. He is the light. He is the lamp of the world. If Jesus Christ is not your lamp, you've got the wrong light. Now you can get a temporary light. You can get a light that will get you through the world. You know, the old timers had the lantern, and they carried that light from that lantern, got them through the path without stumbling and falling off, at the edge of a cliff not falling off, because it shone right where their feet were. But there is a light that will show more distant, illuminating, that will illuminate around you. And if you are a missionary, you ought to be that illuminating light. Instant. Is knowledge acquired without reasoning? It's not instant. Knowledge is not instant. It's acquired by action. Knowledge is acquired by action. You get out there and you act and you learn more than you knew as you go on. And so that's it. God's revelation now, the real intelligence is common sense. God can give you common sense. If you have biblical common sense, which is love, this love will flourish. This love will overshadow all the problems that you have, overshadow your weaknesses, overshadow your problems, your withdrawals, your things. A missionary is to give himself to whatever he's involved in, spiritually speaking. Moral obligation is from God. Morality. God said to be clean morally. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not lie. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife. Thou shalt not commit adultery. And the Ten Commandments. Those are the morality of God. We are to use that morality, and we are to teach that morality on to a lost and dying world. Romans 1:9 is we are taught by God. We are taught by God. Identifying the task. We must identify the task. You say, Brother Peter, where are you today, right now? Let me tell you where I am today, right now. I'm doing an excerpt right here, right now, that I lost. I put this excerpt on paper to pass in my course, and I have to have it Thursday night. I have to have this excerpt written down and passed in order to pass my class. I lost it. I put it down a month ago or so, and I lost it. And I turned on the computer this morning, and I'm going through some stuff, and I'm looking, and I'm looking. And I picked this book up. This book right here, just a regular book. I pick it up, and I find out, here's my 5 or 6 pages of written word about being a missionary. About what I am. This is what I am. I'm identifying the task by speaking here on the YouTube. I'm identifying the involvement of the task by teaching. I'm actually doing the importance of the task. It's hard for me to read my own writing. The task is everywhere. The task is everywhere you are, every minute, every day, every hour. The task is there. Now I'm here on the YouTube right now. Do you know where I could be? I could have gotten in my truck at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I could have went down to the filling station, the all-night station, pulled up to the gas pumps, passed out some tracts, and witnessed and told people if they don't ask Jesus into their heart before they die, they'll go to hell, which I do sometimes. Missionarying at the gas pumps. This is what we are. Accountability. Do you know that we have a God watching us? We are accountable for our time. Our time. You know, if we just give 10%, just give just 10% of our time weekly, we will give 16.8 hours weekly. This is 168 hours in a week. We'll give 16.8 hours to the Lord weekly. I'm trying my best to do that. To have at least 16.8 hours of set apart time for God. Either on this machine, in book studying, at the church doing programs, just kicked off a new mission program at the church, local mission, and we're mission-minded. We are a mission-minded church. We are a mission-minded people. If you are a Christian, you need to be a mission-minded person. First at home, and then the other areas. Internationally, I do that by giving money to missionaries, the international part. Local and foreign, I do right at home, by action and by money. Sometimes I put out the fleece and have people bring things for a mission-minded program or whatever. Suppose I was going to send a case or two of shoes to somebody. Would I ask the people, bring your old shoes, please, and let's send them to somebody? I think much better than that. I think we are, if we're true Christians and we're missionaries, that I ask you, would you go buy a pair of shoes in the box and bring them down here, and we're going to send them to missionary on the foreign field. And we're going to send a brand new pair of shoes. What do you think that foreign missionary is going to think when he gets 10 pair of brand new shoes? He's going to think, you know, I've got some Christian brothers in the United States that mean what they say. They've given their best. They didn't send me the second-hand shoes. They sent me the shoes from the store, the best. And so, listen, missionaries are missionaries in everything. Not just one thing, but in everything. Everything. All right, home missions. There's no language barrier in home missions. So therefore, you don't have to go to school to learn a language. I don't have enough life left in my life to go and learn something different. But I have got a missionary call, and if I got a missionary call, it's not going to be on the foreign field because I don't know another language. Where is it going to be? I don't know their customs. I don't know their government things. I don't know. I don't have a passport to go to most countries. I don't know the vices that they're fighting or they're putting up with in the general areas. I don't know how to make the registration for the culture. I know it says in Mark 16:50 in all the world. I know in Matthew 28 it says the ends of the world. I know in Luke 24:47 it says among all nations. And then I come to the one, Acts 1:8. The uttermost parts of the world. And the only way I can do that was this machine. I can go into the uttermost parts of the world. But who in the uttermost parts of the world can understand what Brother Peter's saying? They're going to have to know the language. So we're going to have to, I couldn't stand some climates. If you sent me to Panama, where it's never been under 93 degrees for 100 years, I couldn't live there. The conditions of some places, I couldn't live in London. My body would not stand the fog, would not stand the humidity. And there are some other things I couldn't do because of the need for money, money. God's provided me provision to live where I live and do what I do and be a missionary here. He hasn't provided me with the money and the wherewithal and to be a foreign missionary. Do I like to go do foreign missionary projects? Yes, I do. Have I done some? Yes, I've done quite a few. But that's beside the point. The point is that this is the base where I am. I'm going to forfeit. I was going on a mission trip next month. I'm going to forfeit that. Because there's $1,000 or $1,200 that I can use in a local mission that I'm in right now. I have a need in the mission I'm in right now. I have the need for a building. A fairly good sized building. To do this project that I'm doing, reaching young folks. I'm of the opinion right now we need to start salvaging our young folks, or we're losing the whole ball game. Subdivisions. I go into subdivisions. We have many people at our church. We had my Sunday school helper last week, Saturday, went out subdivision knocking. That's our Jerusalem. And then I have involvement in many other things, even at the church and outside of the church. And I have to see, number 3, the importance of it. God shows me the importance of it. And then for the internationality side, on the local level, we have people from everywhere. We have people here from everywhere, and they've had to learn English. We have a large, in my area, we have a large Korean plant. And these folks are learning English. Inspiration. Your inspiration needs to come from God. You can use the Old Testament saints. You can use those that were called patriots. They gave their life to be what they were. And then Bible teaching, motivating in missions, Bible teaching. We motivate people to use the Bible. Exclusive claims, John 8:24, Acts 4:12, Romans 3:23. All have sinned and come short of the glory of God. One of the very first things you need to bring your parishioners, your people, whoever you're talking to, no matter where they are, who they are, what language they are, whatever, if you can get to them and bring this to them, that all have sinned and come short of the glory of God. Every one of us have sinned and come short of the glory of God. Luke 24, teach them how to understand and unlock their understanding to the Scriptures. The keys to understanding are in the Bible. The death, the burial, and the resurrection of Jesus Christ is written in the Bible. First, in Genesis, dealing with mankind, not Jews only, but with all men, all stages of men. You remember now in Acts 1 and 8, afterwards he said in the Jerusalem first, that it was to the Jews. But Jesus didn't die just for the Jews, he died for the Gentiles. He died for the whole world. Anybody who is not a Jew is a Gentile. And so therefore, we must first deal with all people. Genesis 22:18 promised Abraham the seed. Abraham was the father of the Jewish nation. And he had this seed that was passed down. And Jesus Christ, the human body, of Jesus Christ came from that seed. Galatians 3:8. All nations on the earth. A-L-L. All nations. He didn't come for one nation. We have got so lopsided, even in the United States of America, we think he only came for us. No, he came for the whole world. The whole world. I have a statement behind that. I have an exclamation point with a big wow. Wow. Jesus shed his blood for the whole world, for every sin that's ever been committed or ever will be committed. His blood will cover that if you will just only ask. Psalm 96, worldwide missions. Isaiah 6 and 8, the call of God, hearing the voice of God. Can you hear the voice of God? Man, I heard the voice of God today. I've got two little old doggies, and they have got beside themselves lately with some bad habits. And those rascals would not let me sleep. Would not let me get some sleep. Finally, the only way to calm them down was to come up to my office and bring them with me, and then they want to go to sleep now. They want to lay on the floor and go to sleep now. Now they're going to be calm, quiet, and behave. But they motivated me to where I am and to do so much study. I've had to do much study today. And in this study, God has really, really enlightened me in some very, very well-versed stuff out of some books. Jeremiah 1 and 5, called. It is written. Luke 24, 45 and 47, Luke 19 and 10. It is written. Missions are to not just the outside, but to the Gentile nations as well as the Jew. Starting with Abraham. Worn in the fabric of the Bible of Scripture. You know that the Bible is a well-knit piece of work? Did you know it's like a quilt? There's not a stitch dropped in. My wife is a knitter. She knits. And then she'll throw it out and lay it on the floor there and look at it and look it over. And every now and then she'll say, And I said, what's the matter, babe? She said, there's a drop stitch right there. I dropped a stitch right there. And do you know something? There's not one drop stitch in the whole Bible. There's not a drop stitch in the whole Bible. There's no mistakes. There's no errors. It's all what God calls perfect. It's His Word, and His Word is perfect. The fabric of the Bible, the Scriptures of the Bible. Luke 19:10. Seek, one save that which was lost. Importance. Missions is importance. Home missions are important. Neighboring towns are important. The outermost part of the world is important. Important things in the missionary life are the bounds, the means, the protection, the provision, the participation. Christ is the crisis that the missions are for. That we need to get out. And Luke 2:10 is joy. And Luke 2:30 and 32 is light. All flesh in Luke needs to be saved. Matthew 4 and 8 and 9 says all. A-L-L, all. I know 26 and 5, John 4:42. Preservation, Acts 8 and 1. Eagles, wow. Deuteronomy 32 and 11. We are to be like the eagle bird, the top of the line of the bird. A missionary is supposed to be the top of the line of true Christianity. I love for people so that they will go out from their home, from their comfort place, from their comfort zone, and and witness and talk and be. That is our starting in our Samaria, our near place, our own Jerusalem, and then Samaria. Antioch. We can go to Antioch. There were Christians there. They were supposedly Christ-like people. But there was a need for a missionary to come to Antioch and say one time, hey, there's a little bit of a problem here in Antioch, and let's look at it. And missionaries are to do that. First, the Christians were missionaries at Antioch. And you know what's funny? That you can be sending out missionaries. You can be a missionary-minded church and fail in your own missions in your own church. Just because you're sending money to foreign missions doesn't mean you've done your whole duty. You've done some of your duty, you sent the money, but then you're a missionary at home. You can't forget that. I'm an evangelistic missionary. People say, Pete, how come you go out like that all the time, shirt and tie? Well, I'm an evangelist. I'm an evangelist. If I had a man working for me and I said to him, sir, you are going to be an ambassador for my company. I want you to look like one. I do not plan on looking like an ambassador when you go out. Do I need to get somebody else, or are you going to appear as an ambassador? I'm an ambassador for Jesus Christ. I need to appear. I'm also a paint contractor. But I don't put my paint clothes on when I'm going painting as a general rule in the morning. I'll put the shirt and tie on. If I'm going to stop somewhere on the way, and I'm going to be an evangelist first and a painter second. So we've got these worldwide missions. Everyone is a sinner. Everyone, including the missionary, is a sinner. The difference between the missionary and the one he's going out, the worldwide sinfulness, is that he's already heard. He's asked Jesus to forgive him of his sin, and now he's become a saint. Matthew 11:23, Revelation 22:17. Come and take this water. It's free. Freely take this water that Jesus is offering. The water of the Holy Spirit. If you'll drink of this water, you will never thirst again for the things of the world. If you follow through with it. All except one become missionaries. Review, and review. We need to continually review our life. We need to continually, daily, review yesterday. Did we do what God would have us do? Are we doing today what God would have us do? Are we reviewing everything that we did today? It's a must with an exclamation point. I'm saying to you, it is a must with an exclamation point. Do you understand that it is a must with an exclamation point? I'm talking about a capital M, capital U, capital S, capital T, must with a big exclamation point. That we must preach the word. That they, who are they? Anybody outside of your hearing of your voice, that hear your voice, may be saved. Wherever you are, you can't be mum. Wherever you are, you need to let people know that you're a Christian. Missions is a priority because it makes the wanderers of salvation clear. Wonders, that's my writing. Note verse 47 in the book that I was in. So we need to make the wonders of salvation known to those around us. And I broke my 30-minute window, and so I'm going to click off now and look. If you're not acting like a missionary, start acting like one. If this is brand new to you and you say, Brother Peter, I don't know about that stuff, get in the Bible. Get in the book of John and get started reading. And just read and let God speak to you through His Word. He'll do it. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.